Hi guys, welcome to my first video on this channel. Looking forward to diving deep on JavaScript with you. If you're interested in building your JavaScript programming skills, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button, and I'll do my best to bring you engaging and fun JavaScript tutorials and projects each and every week. Today I want to dive into character classes. If you have ever wondered how websites know if a password is strong or weak, or even how search engines give you those suggested results as you're typing into the search bar, they're doing it by using character classes. But before we dive into character classes, let's just backtrack a little bit and understand what's powering these character classes. And that's something called regular expressions, also known as regex. And it's pretty simple to understand, so just stay with me. So what is a regex? Well, a regular expression, or regex for short, is like a search pattern. Think of it like a set of rules to match a specific part of a text, right? For example, you can make a rule to find all the vowels in a word, or you can make sure an email address is valid by looking for an @ symbol, for example. In JavaScript, the way you write a regular expression is by using forward slashes like this. So we'll just write pattern / So everything inside the forward slash is essentially what you're looking for. So everything inside here, okay? And once you have your regex, you can do things with it. And something that's really useful is to chain a method called match. So you would just press period and then match. And so everything you pass in match is going to check what's in this pattern. Okay, now this will make more sense once we start building out our regular expressions. But match essentially will test if our regular expression matches any part of the string. So let's see this in action with a really simple example. Now I'll call a variable regex. And I'll add a regular expression pattern to it, and we'll call it hello. So we're opening up the regular expression pattern by using forward slashes. So this pattern here is essentially looking for the word hello. So now let's add a match method to it to check if any part of our pattern matches a part of a string that we want to check. So let's write const, we'll call a result variable, and we'll say, we'll add a string. Use double quotations, so hello space world dot match, and then inside our match method we will add the regex variable that we just called up here. Okay, and now to check if the pattern matches any part of this string, so to check if hello matches any part of this string, we will print that out, so console.log, and we will ask for result, and so we'll see that this should output hello. So we'll run the terminal. We can see here that hello, it found hello from the input of hello world. Okay, so that's great. That's exactly what we were looking for. And if there's no match, there's no hello, we'll just get rid of the hello. The result would be null, which we can see right here. Okay, now that we know what regex is and match and what the match method is, character classes will start to make more sense. So we'll go to our next section, which is right here. So to start off with, what are character classes, right? You can think of a character class like a basket that holds a set of characters that you want to match. So when you use a character class, you're basically saying match any one of these characters. It will make more sense in a second when we start going through some examples. Now, the way you create a character class is with square brackets, okay? So anything that you add between these square brackets becomes your character class. So for example, if you wanted to check vowels like A, E, I, O, U, this would essentially become a character class for vowels. We'll add this to a regex. So actually, I'll just comment out this section here so that we're not running two separate regex. So we'll add another regex here, equals, and we'll wrap this in a regex. And then we want to check all the vowels in the word cat, for example. So we'll console log a string of cat, and we'll get this to match our regex, which is any of the vowels A, E, I, O, U. And so what we should see is an output of A. So we'll play this. So you can see A is the index of 1 and in the input, which is of cat. Okay, so that's correct. Let's check for another word. So we'll say console.log console.log, and we'll log the we'll log dog. Okay, and we'll match this with our regex, and we'll have a look at what it outputs. And so if we press, it outputs O, right? Because O is a vowel in dog. Let's not add a vowel now and just double check what it does. So console.log, we'll put the word, what can we put? Fly. Fly.match, whoops, match, it's really hard to type and speak at the same time. Okay, so match, and then we will output that, and we can see we get a null because there is no vowels in fly. So now what if we've got a word that's got multiple vowels in it, okay, within our character class? So obviously we're just looking for one vowel here, but what if we've got a word like, let's say we've got a word like education, okay, and we match this to our regex. Okay, let's play. Let's hit the terminal. Now you can see what happens. We've only essentially get one vowel, okay? So to find every vowel in education, we have to then rewrite it with a global variable. So we would just say, we'll just comment this section out. We would write const regex equals, and we'll open up our regex and character classes A, E, I, O, U, and then we would close it off and add a global flag to it. So now this is checking for every single match within our character class. And so if we were to come down here, and let's just copy this, I'm not going to write it out again. So copy, and then we'll paste it here, and then we'll press the terminal. We can see that every single vowel within education has been output. So E, U, A, I, U. Okay, so that's what the global flag does. And so for a real world example, you know, a program like this could be written as kind of a spell checking feature to check if there's any missing vowels in a word. Okay, so hopefully that's all starting to make some sense. If it's not, please let me know in the comment section, but hopefully it is. So now in terms of flags, there are different flags that we can talk about, but you know, we're not going to talk about that in this lesson today. We're just going to cover the global flag. So, you know, stay tuned for other videos in the future. If you're getting some value from this video, please make sure you subscribe. But now let's really start using character classes in a more dynamic way. So instead of simply listing every character class, you can also use ranges in character classes. So for example, if we write a character class with A to Z, we can also write another character class with an uppercase A to Z. And then we can write another character class which checks for digits, 0 to 9. And so, you know, we can add all different ranges within character classes to check. So let's add some of these in some coding examples. So let's just delete all this. So let's say we wanted to match all lowercase letters in a string. So we'll call a variable lowercase, regex, that's what we'll call it. We will call the regex and open the character classes, and we'll say A to Z. We'll call A to Z. Close that. And then we'll add a global flag to it. And so now what we're saying is, we're basically saying here to match, oops, comment this out. We're basically saying to match all lowercase letters, okay? For our match method. So now we'll print this out, console.log, and then we will write hello, and we'll get hello to be matched here, dot match, and we'll write, we'll call our lowercase regex, which is there. Then this should, actually comment this out first. And then this should output every single letter of hello. So let's have a look and we can see hello, Hello. Let's write another example now and let's check for uppercase letters. Okay, so we'll call a new variable here, which will be const, and we'll call it uppercase regex. And then we will open up our character classes and we'll add A to Z, close this out, add our global flag as well to it. And then so now what we're obviously doing is we're trying to match all uppercase letters. So I realize we've got here lowercase letters. So now we're trying to match all uppercase letters. So let's print this out and see what we can find with a new string. So console log, and we'll say we'll add the string of capital H, hello, and then we'll match this with our uppercase regex. Now we should get an output of hello. I'll just comment this out. Perfect. Sorry, the output should be H because we've only got one uppercase hello. So that's working perfect. We'll do one more quick example, and this time we'll do it with a digit. So we'll call it a number. Sorry. So we'll call const digit regex, and we'll make this. We'll open up our regex pattern. So 0 to 9. Close this out, and then we will add our global flag to it as well. And so now what we're trying to do here is we're obviously trying to, let's just write this out so it's a bit clearer. We're trying to match all digits that's within our console log statement. Okay, so let's have a look here. We'll console log and we'll add some digits, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are obviously within a string. These are not actual numbers. So within this string, it's going to find all the digits. And so we'll press match, and we'll match for digit regex. And we should see every single number pop in here, okay? So now we've got an error. Why do we have an error? It's because our console log has a bracket here. Shouldn't have had that. So we'll add another bracket out here. Okay, enter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every single digit within our string. So you can see how these ranges essentially would be used in something like, ensuring when a user is making a password, that the program is checking that they're at least using one number. We can add that in to match a digit. And if they don't, the program can then check and ask them to rewrite their password. So that will be a kind of a real world example of where we might see something like this used. So let's move on to the next section, which is now to combine character classes. So now we're stepping it up a level. And so for example, what I mean by combining character classes would be we can look for lowercase a to z and then a digit 0 to 9, all within the same character class. Okay, so this would essentially match any lowercase letter or any digit within a string. So the first example is we want to try and match lowercase and digits. So we'll call a new variable. We'll name just regex again. And then we will add our character class, which is, what are we doing? A to Z. And then we're doing 0 to 9. 0 to 9. Close our regex, add a global flag to it. And then so here we're obviously trying to match all lowercase letters or digits. So we'll console log this out, console.log, and then we'll look for, let's say something fun. Let's say JavaScript space simplified 2024 with an exclamation mark. So obviously we want to try and find all our lowercase letters and we want to find all the digits. So it's going to pretty much output everything that we've got here minus the exclamation point. So match regex, and let's have a look. So okay, I've added another bracket here. Why do I keep doing that? That is so annoying. All right, here we go. Close this out. So here we go. So JavaScript simplified 2024, and we don't have our exclamation point because we're obviously not looking for it within our class, within our character class. And so you can see that you would use something like this to validate, usernames. You could make sure that they only contain characters that you allow. So only characters that would be lowercase, or only characters that have, digits. So that's kind of a real world example where you might see something like this being used. So let's move on to now optional character classes. We will get rid of this. And so now what if we wanted to have optional characters? So for example, if we wanted to have an optional field where they either used a middle name or their initials, but they don't have to use it, right? It's optional. So this is where we would use an optional character class. And to do this, we use the quantifier symbol, so question mark symbol. And this means that the character class can appear, 0 or 1 time. And it tells the regex it's okay if this character class is missing. So let's work through a couple of examples here. So we'll call regex again, and then we'll open up our regex and we'll say capital A question, close our regex off, G, global flag. And so here we're essentially saying this will match 0 or 1 capital A, okay? So we'll console log a couple of options here just to see how this works. So console.log, and we would say, let's say we'll start with something easy like Apple, and then we will match this with our regex pattern. And so we should see an output of A and then a whole bunch of empty strings. So let's have a look. So A and then a whole bunch of empty strings because, we're obviously trying to just match a 0 or an A, and the rest is all optional. So let's try another one. Console.log, we'll say banana. And then we will match this with our regex. And so what we should see now is all the matches for A, capital A. Now we can see there's no matches for capital A because there are no capital A's in banana. But let's change it. Let's add all the A's as capital. Press play. And we can see all the A's within banana. So that's pretty cool. We'll do one more. Another fun one. Are you guys like having fun? Hope you are. JavaScript. And we'll do simplified. And we'll try and match this. And we'll add a match. So hopefully I'm giving you guys enough examples so that you can understand the concepts here. Because I know sometimes it can be difficult to, grasp what is actually happening, sorry. So probably not going to see any output here. Or empty strings, sorry. So let's add capital A here and, and a capital A here, and we'll see the 2 right here, JavaScripts. All right, let's move on to some advanced features now. I'll just close this, I'll comment this stuff out. And so a couple of advanced features that we've got, and then we might sort of start to wrap things up. Sometimes you might want to exclude certain character classes, and this could be used if you wanted to clean up data, for example, if you wanted to exclude vowels from a string, or if you wanted to exclude any symbols. Let's say, for example, we call another regex, and I'm going to just add all this in here. This might take a second. Okay, and so here we are trying to match all characters that are not vowels. And so we negate our character classes by adding a caret symbol. It's called caret inside the brackets, caret, okay, or however you pronounce it. And so, for example, this means to match anything except these vowels. So we'll go ahead and we'll call a console log. So console.log, and we'll then type in, we'll do something simple again. We'll go cat, so match, and then do our regex. And so now we'll see that it'll match everything outside of our val. And so it's giving us a null. It's giving us a null because we haven't put it in our brackets, which is my mistake. Okay. And so we can see everything that's not a val is appearing. So that's great. Let's change this to dog. Everything that's not a val is matching here. And we can also use this for symbols. So let's change this and add symbols. So let's just add a whole bunch of symbols there. There we go. Get rid of this. And we'll add, let's say, JavaScript simplified, and we'll just add some symbols. And so it's giving us everything bar the symbols that we've got in our console log. Now, if you wanted to match characters like a period or like a $, for example, which are special characters within regex, you need to escape them with a backslash. So escaping essentially tells the regex to treat these characters literally, not as part of regex syntax. So for example, let's rewrite our character class in here. And so we'll just get rid of our character class and we would add a backslash. And let's say we wanted to get rid of the period symbol. We would add this, and you can see that we're actually trying to essentially match actual periods. So the period symbol right here. So if we did something like write hello.world and try to match that, you can see that we can grab the period symbol by escaping it through a backslash. So just a little important thing there to understand. And that is actually our second, I've kind of skipped ahead here, but that was for this section right there, okay? And so the negated classes, sorry, I'll just quickly rewrite this. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Obviously, very casual video, just doing this on the fly. Now you can see we've got our advanced feature negated and with our caret symbol and our regex symbol to escape special characters. So I'll just comment this part out. We're getting to the end, so I'll just comment this part out as well. And now let's look at kind of a real world example of when we might want to escape special characters. So let's say we wanted to validate a JPEG or PNG file extensions. So this is what the program would look like. So I'll just fast forward through it a little bit. JPEG, we would create another / .png, and this would, then we add the $ symbol, which is essentially telling the program to find all the end matches of a string. So anything at the end of the string, that's what this $ symbol is asking, and then we would wrap it in a global flag. And so essentially what we're saying here is we're asking this program to match .jpeg and or .png files that are at the end of the string. And the end of the string, that is what this symbol is providing us. So let's just log a couple of console outputs here. So let's start with the first one, image.jpg, and then we'll say to match our file extension. And then let's put another one here, console.log, and then we'll put this one as photo.png, I'll wrap that as a string. So go to match, and then we would obviously look for we're trying to match it with our file regex, and we'll put another one here, and we'll just add this as the file extension that we're looking for. So we'll put this as a document.pdf, and we'll put match file extension regex. Okay, so hopefully if our program's correct, we should only receive the image and photo and receive a null for the PDF. Perfect. So you can see that it's found image.jpg, the PNG, and it's received. We've got a null for our PDF program here as well. And so this program will be great if we're trying to find specific file formats. If we didn't want PDF documents, we could use this to run a program to validate, certain file extensions. All right, so now let's wrap this up with a final use cases, sort of wrap up this entire lesson, put everything that we've learned together, and we'll have a look at a real world use for our regex and character classes. And we'll do this through using a password validation program, just a very simple program, and we'll bring everything together. So I'll start writing out this program. Let me just move this over. So I'm going to start writing out this program, and then I'll be back in a second, okay? Regex. Okay, so here's the program. So here we're looking at password validation of all these different symbols and all these character classes that we spoke about in all the previous lessons above. So here we want to obviously try to match this particular regex with, and I've got a few different options. So let's run through and let's have a look at what this password validation spits out. Okay, so you can see here that it's giving us a positive output for the first console log, which is hello, because we are looking for uppercase at the beginning, and we're looking at sort of lowercase towards the end and digits as well. So we received a null here. Do you guys know why we received the null? Well, the reason we received the null is because we have no uppercase letters within our string here, and we require uppercase letters for our password validation. So for this person to use this validation, we need an uppercase letter. And so do we know why this has returned a null? This one right here. Well, the reason that one has returned a null is because it contains a space and we have no empty strings within our password validation. So that is why this has returned a null. And the last one, which is our JavaScript simplified. So this one has returned a positive password. So this password is fine if you want to use it. And the reason is because it meets all the requirements of uppercase, lowercase, symbol, and digits that we have put into our regex pattern up the top here. All right, guys, that was a huge first lesson. We've covered a lot today, from understanding what regex and character classes are, to diving into advanced features like negated character classes, escaping special characters, and even validating passwords and file extensions. So covered a lot. Regex, it might seem intimidating at first, but once you start to break it down into these smaller concepts, it really becomes a very powerful tool for solving real world problems. If you found this first video helpful, guys, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.